This is Mosaic. Today's subject, an interview with Illinois Treasurer Judy Bartopinka about a Czech memorial in Washington, D.C. This is Mosaic, a program of conversations of special interest to the people of the ethnic communities of Chicagoland. Mosaic is presented by WCEV, which serves the entire Chicagoland ethnic community. Our call letters tell what we are. WCEV, we're Chicagoland's ethnic voice. I'm Lucina Megala, your hostess. My guest for today's conversation is the Treasurer of Illinois, Judy Bartopinka. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Lucina. It's good to see you.
It's great to see you, and welcome to WCEV Radio.
Oh, wonderful. I just love your program and the fact that you spend as much time as you do on ethnic culture. It's wonderful. It just highlights the diversity of Illinois.
Yes, and this is, diversity are us right here in
Exactly.
Illinois.
If you want to see the world, you never have to leave the confines of Illinois.
This is true. It's wonderful to have you here, and you are going to be talking about a project in the Czech community. I hope that our audience is aware that Judy Bartopinka is not only the treasurer of the state of Illinois, but she is a very committed Czech American, not only that, a Slavic American, because she's very active not only in the Czech community, but also with Slovaks, Polish Americans, and also many other European ethnic groups. It's nice to have you as kind of the leader for us out there.
Well, I just think that Central Europe has so much to offer and such great histories and traditions that somebody has to put those forward. And if I can be a voice for that, that pleases me no end.
Bravo. And now you are a voice for a statue, a memorial in Washington, D.C., for a Czech leader who is actually a Chicagoan.
Oh, yes, we can claim him. In fact, we have a statue for him already, although it is not of him personally, but it's a great, large knight on a horse statue on the Midway Plaisance of the University of Chicago.
Very prestigious spot.
Oh, it is, and we've already cleaned that one up. That was one of my earlier projects. And Thomas Masaryk, of course, was the first president of a free Czechoslovakia in 1918, and he was taken from the University of Chicago for that position because he had been a teacher there and was, very well respected in terms of what he was able to do and the principles of freedom that he espoused.
Now, Masaryk is a very interesting character because not only was he an educator, almost a philosopher, but also became the leader of his nation. And I think this must be in the Czech character. When the Czech Republic pulled itself out of communism, they had a first president who was a poet and writer.
Isn't that wonderful?
So I guess
Yes.
there's something in the Czech character that kind of leans in that direction.
I'd probably agree with you on that, that it has a tendency to be more cerebral. In fact, when one looks at Václav Havel, the president now, and what he brings to the table, and then you also, can look at the fact that the Czech Republic, what was then Czechoslovakia, or actually the Kingdom of Bohemia, when you go way, way back, has the oldest university in all of Europe.
Yes, University of Prague,
With
one of the
Charles
oldest.
University,
Yes.
Karlova University, and so it goes back a long way, and I guess Czechs are probably more thoughtful, a little more conniving and clever, and I have a personal thing with Masaryk, which I think is just so great. His first Minister of Finance was named Topinka.
You're kidding.
No, I thought that was a wonderful little. I just picked that up in my travels, and I thought, well, what goes around comes around.
How
We've kind of
nice.
met it. We've kind of met and made it happen.
So that there is, let's say, precedent for your being a treasurer here in Illinois. How wonderful. Now tell us, first of all, not only, Masaryk is kind of a symbol of all the time when the Czech Republic, then part of Czechoslovakia, was under the thumb of the communists, under the thumb of Moscow. His name never died. I think that people kind of saw him as a symbol of freedom.
I think probably, next to St. Wenceslas, who was to lead the Czech people in their time of need, that he probably is somewhat of an icon. I think it's also kind of a neat thing, and, the ties to America, because, one, he used our Declaration of Independence to write the Declaration of Independence for Czechoslovakia, free Czechoslovakia, based on, ours and his readings of people like Thomas Jefferson and Abraham Lincoln, and the fact that he married a gal from Brooklyn. He married an American woman and therefore became kind of a leader in women's rights as well because he actually used her name as part of his name and became Thomas Garrigay Masaryk.
Oh, I didn't know
That was a
that.
little goodie.
Oh,
Yeah,
what
that is
an
her maiden name
interesting.
that he took and made as part of his name.
Way, way ahead of his time.
Oh, completely. And when you stop and think, now, you look at Poland, which really had the first constitution of a democracy.
In Europe.
In Europe, I mean, it's the leader of the pack on that. The Poles were always way out in front in terms of what they were doing. And I think here you bring the philosophical tenets to it. And it was told to me, I just came back from Poland, that our people have been intermarrying for years. So there's a lot of activity on that front. I really do feel an affinity.
Well, we're fellow Slavs.
Oh, yes.
And even John Paul II, the Polish Pope, calls himself the Slavic Pope.
It is. It's a bigger family, really, which takes in an awful lot of people. And Pan-Slavism, it was a movement at one time. Maybe if we all learned to work together in the United States,
Would be nice.
Politically, we could be a major force. That's always troubling to me, that we don't use people like Masaryk as an example and go forward and work together. Quit working not only against each other, but working internally against each other on top of it. We don't get anywhere that way. So I was very happy to see that this project, led by the American Friends of the Czech Republic, which is a pretty weighty group coming out of Washington, D.C., but having its roots basically in Berwyn, Illinois.
The capital of Czech America.
Absolutely. They refer to us, those on the board who come from this area, as the Berwyn Mafia. And we work as a block, and we work together. Now, many of these folks now are in Washington. They live in Washington, for instance, like Bob Dobek. I think we all know his parents' company, Dobek Cookies, which was in Broadview for years. And he not only was instrumental here in doing this, but was also instrumental in putting together the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington.
Oh, so he has some experience.
Oh, yes, and that was really rough going. But he was part of the Wall, the three guys that helped put that together. And Milton Cerny, who was a great attorney here and now is an attorney in Washington, D.C. We have Fred Malik, who was former president of Marriott and Northwest Airlines, had been in the Nixon administration. Jim Lovell, the astronaut. Cernan, the astronaut. I mean, there's a lot of folks over here.
And these are all Czech Americans.
They're all Czech Americans.
Obviously involved and committed to their ethnic community. Great.
They are, and when it all happens in Washington, and I think, they were right in saying, well, there needs to be some recognition of these ties that have traditionally kept us together, Czechs and Americans together, to have this statue of Thomas Masaryk. And so, they're looking at having one right across the street from the World Bank headquarters there, and it's not being paid for at taxpayers' expense at all. It's all being done through private donations, and I think that's kind of a neat thing too, because if you want something like that, I think the ethnic group is responsible for making it happen and also paying for it.
Now tell me, when and how much is this going to cost, and when do you think that the collection will be done and the project will go on?
Well, it's going to have a few bucks involved here, but so far I think that we've been doing very well in terms of fundraising, and there's just a lot of interest in it. I have a very cute little letter, if you don't mind. It's very short, but I'd like to read it. It's from a lovely little gal in Cicero, and she's 91 years old.
91.
91. And so she is writing this to Vera Wilt, who's the president of the CSA Fraternal Life, the Czechoslovak Society of America out in Oak Brook. And she writes, Dear Vera Wilt, please accept my small donation toward the statue of President Masaryk. It's the best I can do being a 91-year-old handicapped widow who is alone and on a very low income. If every person who reads about the statue would donate $2, it would help. Don't you think? My grandparents on both sides were German Czechs, just like my dear friend Judy Topinka. That was nice of her to give me a... I very much would like to help with... Oh, and she goes on and talks about how she helps with veterans groups and so on. But as she says, if everyone would give just $2, and I think, too, with the various programs you've done in the Polish community, Lucina, if every Pole would give you $2, you would be able to get the $1 million you need to make your your Polish river dance, which I know will happen, and I know will be a success because everything you do is successful. But that's the kind of thing where I think we need to pull together to make those kind of things happen. And it's happening for this statue. It should also happen for your river dance.
Well, thank you. But let's tell people where they can send their donations and uh, an address or phone number.
Right. If they would send their donations to, first of all, they can look on the internet and email to afocr@afocr.org. And
And we'll
that
give
gives
you
you
that.
all the information you can possibly have.
That's afocr@afocr.org on the internet.
Right. And they can make checks payable to the Thomas Garrigay Masaryk Memorial Fund and mail into the American Friends of the Czech Republic, which is at 2801 M as in Mary Street, Northwest, that's NW, Washington, D.C., 2007. Now, I will tell you, if they would just make checks made out to the Thomas Garrigay Masaryk Memorial Statue, if they send it to the treasurer's office, it will get to me, and I will send it on to them. Needless to say, I'm not going to put it into the Illinois State Treasury, although, I love to collect that money. But nevertheless, if they can't remember the address, if they would send it to me, make it personal to me, Judy Bar Topinka, at the treasurer's office, Thompson Center, Chicago, which is 100 West Randolph, but Thompson Center will get it to me, and I will get it to them. And, of course, I certainly would encourage everybody to participate.
Okay, once again, it's the Masaryk, Masaryk, Memorial Fund. You can send your check either to Judy Bar Topinka or to the American Friends of the Czech Republic, 2801 M Street, Northwest, Washington, D.C., 20007. 20007. 3 O's, 20007. And we will give you these addresses again toward the end of the program if you didn't.
Now, we're expecting that we're going to unveil this statue in April 2002, so it's coming up, and we would hopefully have this coincide with a state visit by President Havel, the President of the Czech Republic. It's on Pennsylvania Avenue. It's really just steps away from the White House. And we're also going to create a scholarship endowment in support of the statue, and we will provide scholarship opportunities for Czech and Slovak students to study in the United States. I think part and parcel of the emerging democracies and globalization and NATO and, again, that big Slavic family, the more interaction we can have with Central Europe, the better off we are. And the more international interaction we can have, the better we are. And we're pushing it.
You know what? Now that we've had the attack on America, terrorist attack.
Oh, yeah, just horrible.
We realize that America needs friends in the world. And I don't think there are any countries that are more pro-American than the former satellites that were forced to be satellites of the Soviet Union. Countries such as the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Poland, Hungary. These countries know what it means to be under communism, and they are great supporters of the United States, and we now need great supporters all over the world. So I think it's important that we, as you say, have as many ties with Central Europe as possible.
Well, Americans are so in the dark so much in terms of what's going on in the world. Either they have no interest or they're too lazy to learn about it or just think that everything happens here. But with the advent of high technology and communications and things of that sort, it's a very small world. And, what happens in Beijing in a second is already happening here and affecting us here. So, the world is tight, and we really have to know more. I was amazed that the FBI was out asking for people who could speak Arabic or Farsi. They did not even have people like that on staff. We need to encourage more languages. I love to see the Czech schools. I'm a product of one, and not as good as I'd like to be, but nevertheless the product of one. I like the fact that the Poles have Saturday schools and encourage youngsters to go, and the Greeks do, and other nationalities do. But we are going to have to get and install and maintain some. It's going to cost us about $300,000, and the scholarship endowment roughly around $200,000. So it's going to be a continuing commitment, and these are the kind of things I think are very productive because they're educational and they get people into the bigger mix of the bigger world.
Also, this is an opportunity for Czechs to tell their story, and it's an interesting story. It's a story. This leader, Masaryk, he lived in the United States. He taught at the University of Chicago. This is an American success story as well as a story of a great leader in the Czech Republic.
Oh, and I think it's so good. And there are so many of these histories of people like this who come out of of Central Europe that really are never taught in history classes in the United States. People really don't know about them. And unfortunately, our Slavic people have a tendency to speak inward about them. We all know. We share those little stories amongst each other, but we don't tell anybody else. So in effect, these are really kind of hidden treasures that I would just love to have folks who are not of these ethnic groups be able to open the door and have the opportunity to learn about them.
Very, very important. And I think that not only should Czech Americans donate to this, but I think other ethnics who might be listening might take learn a little lesson here that you have to do something that is permanent, like a statue. You have to use opportunities to call attention to your ethnicity. Public relations is a very difficult and important thing, and I think that many ethnic groups in the United States do not understand. They don't even understand what it is. And you really have to create your niche in America as an ethnic group. You have to earn it. You have to carve it out and make people aware that you are there. And I think that a lot of the Slavic ethnic groups are not good at that. You know what, we pay our taxes, we're good citizens of this country. We support our Polish community events. We attend our Polish community events, but we forget that we have to tell the rest of America that we're here and how terrific our culture, our history, and our contributions to this country are.
Well, it is, and I think also too, it's very important to become a political force.
Aha!
You know,
Yes.
it really is because when I first ran, and I ran statewide in the state of Illinois, and was told point blank I could not win because the name of Topinka was too Slavic, it was too foreign sounding, it wasn't Brown, Smith, or Jones, it would not be acceptable, it was a terrible ballot name. Oh, I've had that name kicked around all over the place, and which it means, by the way, garlic toast in Czech.
Oh,
I mean,
does it?
yeah, it's
I love garlic toast.
well, somebody once told me it was a very romantic name. I said, not in my neighborhood, but nevertheless. But as it were, I mean, that to me, that was just so un-American that they would find fault with the name. It was an acceptable name to be a worker bee. It was an acceptable name to be a laborer, to do whatever menial jobs, but somehow or other, it was not an acceptable name to be considered for a leadership position.
Well, that's changing, thank goodness.
It is, and I was happy we could break the ceiling on that because that opens the door and opened the door to a lot of people. I mean, if you can elect a Topinka, you can elect a Migala, you can elect a Garcia, you can elect a Wang and a Fong, and you can do all sorts of things. And I think we do have to open those doors so we do get a diversified representation. And it's troublesome to me that we really have very few Slavic representatives, and when they are Slavic, sometimes they don't even realize it, or they come to that realization a little too late when they're campaigning. You are because you are because you are, and you damn well ought to be proud of it.
Well, that's it. That's it. And the other thing is solidarity. This is what sometimes we feel that we have lessons to show our cousins in Poland or in Europe. Well, they also have a lesson to show us. By the Polish people sticking together, being solid, solidarity, they tumbled communism.
Oh, they led. They
So,
led.
so the point is, we have to be solid over here too. Work together. That's our biggest problem. Is that we're going off in different directions.
Well, it is, and I mean that whole ethnic Polish joke culture, which when you realize what the history of Poland, for instance, and the contributions and what was accomplished there and the people that it produced, it's completely contradictory to a Polish joke. I mean, why would you even create a Polish joke to show that somehow these people are not smart or fumbling and stumbling? It doesn't play out. It doesn't hold. And yet, because we have an ignorant American public, then it becomes something funny. I mean, I used to hate I guess it was Saturday Night Live, or the boys from Bratislava.
Oh yes, the two.
I used to hate those two, and because they looked like such lunkheads, and they made everybody look like flea bags. And I said, that's not Bratislava, and Slovakia has a long and exalted history in terms of what it's been able to do. And even today when I look at The Sopranos, and I think, gee, that's a terrible way to portray
poor
Italians.
Italian Americans.
Oh, they just get beaten up all the time, that they're allegedly mobsters, and most of them are law-abiding, go to, Mass on Sunday, do your thing, take care of the community. It's just not fair to dump on our ethnic groups when they've been such an integral part of Illinois.
Now, if you would like to donate to the Masaryk statue, once again, the addresses to, first of all, Judy, I apologize. I shouldn't call her
Oh,
Judy,
no, absolutely.
Ms. Topinka. But
No.
anyway, Judy, you will accept the checks
I would
at
accept
the
the checks,
office?
but I do wish them to mark them as personal. Address it directly to me. Now, don't make the check out to me. I don't want this to get confused with like a campaign check. Or it has to be made out. If you just put Masaryk Memorial, we can cash it and that'll be fine. And send it to me at the State of Illinois Building, 100 West Randolph, Chicago 60602. I
No,
think.
oh one, I
Oh
think.
one. There you go. And it will get to me, and I will then turn it over to the American Friends of the Czech Republic in Washington, D.C. Or if you want to get it there directly, that would be even better, which is the American Friends of the Czech Republic, 2801 M as in Mary Street, comma, Northwest. That all you have to do is just put an NW, Washington, D.C., 20007.
Once again, the check should be made out to the Masaryk Memorial Fund, Masaryk, Masaryk Memorial Fund. Send it either to Judy Partopinka here in Chicago at the State of Illinois Building or to American Friends of the Czech Republic, 2801 M Street, Northwest, Washington, D.C., 20007. 2801 M Street, NW, which stands for Northwest, Washington, D.C., 20007. Well, by the way, there's also a website if you want to find out more about the project and all the details that you can look it
And
up
who wants
on
to
the
say it,
web.
Lucy?
www.afocr@afocr.org. And AFOCR, so you'll remember that, stands for American Friends of the Czech Republic. There's also a phone number, area code 202-338-1548. 202-338-1548. You can ask about the Thomas Masaryk Memorial Statue. Say his middle name again.
Garrigay.
Garrigay. So I know how to say it right. Garrigay.
And the other thing is, I just would just like to throw in, because I'm kind of proud of it, and that is I do think probably before the end of the year we will have an honorary consul for the Czech
Yes,
Republic
you
in
were
Chicago.
mentioning that.
About time, little overdue. Was happy to make noise about that too. We could get something done. And with the American Friends of the Czech Republic, we had our first meeting in Washington, a huge dinner, a humanitarian award, and we presented our very first one to Madeleine Albright.
How nice.
And I think that's so neat because not only did it go to a Czech American, but she was an American gal.
Yes, and a woman.
A woman!
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Judy Partopinka, Treasurer of the State of Illinois and very active Czech American, as you can see, kind of a Slavic soul here. Thank you. This is Mosaic, WCEV's program of conversations of special interest to ethnic Americans. We invite you to tune in to another Mosaic program next week at this time here on WCEV. We're Chicagoland's ethnic voice.
Homeowners, have you been putting off painting your house? Good, you should, because with vinyl siding from Sears Home Central, you never have to paint again. Call for a free in-home estimate at 1-800-531-7786. Call right now and save $375 on select styles. Sears Vinyl Siding makes your home's exterior virtually maintenance-free. Your home will keep that freshly painted look because vinyl siding from Sears resists fading. And best of all, Sears guarantees your complete satisfaction or your money back. Call Sears at 1-800-531-7786 and save $375 on select styles. Offer ends November 26th. License number available on request. Not available in all areas. Minimum purchase 1,000 square feet. Ask your representative for offer details and written warranty.